Okay, class, today we're going to learn about Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address. Now, who knows what the Gettysburg Address is? That's right. It's a speech that Abraham Lincoln gave. We are going to go to a place where they actually have the speech written on a wall. And it's in Washington, and it's called the Lincoln Memorial. So we're going to go there. And what's really neat about this is that we can go inside and we can see the pictures on the wall. Let me make sure I can get the right one here. That's not what I wanted. There we go. So we gotta go inside the Lincoln Memorial. Who's ever been to had the opportunity to go here before? All right. Did you guys like it? Kind of a neat place. So right here, first is we see a picture of Abraham Lincoln, and he was the president of the United States. And when he was president, there was a war that was going on, and wars where people fight against each other, right? We've heard about that. We've talked about that when we had the Declaration of Independence and where they fought against Britain. Now, Abraham Lincoln came across another war. Like I said, it was called the American Revolution, or the American Civil War, in 1863. And during this war is where the North, the people that lived up in the top, and the people in the South that lived in the bottom, they started fighting against each other because they just disagreed about things. And Abraham Lincoln didn't really like that, and a lot of other people didn't like that. And we'll go around here and see what the Lincoln Memorial looks like inside. And so when the people were fighting, they had a really, really big battle in Pennsylvania, and in a city called Gettysburg. And Abraham Lincoln, after this fight, this is where a lot of people died. And they wanted to remember what the people did, the ones who fought there. And so what Lincoln did was he wrote a speech. You guys, you've had to write some speeches. Sometimes you have to write paper, and when you stand up in front of people, you have to talk, and that's what Abraham Lincoln had to do. And so when he did that, let's see if we can find another better picture that goes all the way in. There we go. Look at this one. This gives you a really good picture of what this is, right inside the Lincoln Memorial. And this is exactly what he said to the people who were there. And I'm actually going to let you listen to just a little clip. It's just his speech was really short, but it was something that everyone remembered for a long time because it was really, really important. Because what he did, the things that he said, brought everybody together. It made them want to stay together and to stop fighting. And so, I'm going to go here real quick. And we're going to listen to this. It's just 2 minutes. We're going to listen, and then what I'm going to ask you afterwards is how you felt. So listen to it, and how do you feel about what he said? And there's going to be some big words in there, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Some things that doesn't maybe make sense. I'll help you to understand that. But I want you to listen, and afterwards I'm going to ask you how you feel about what he said, okay?
77 years ago, Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
So how did that make you guys feel? Good. Okay, so sometimes the things that we feel is by the way the speaker uses their words. Sometimes it's the words itself. When we read them, we feel something. But this was very important to the people then, because what they were doing, one of the words he used was dedicated. So he's making the place Gettysburg, the the cemetery, an important place, and he wanted it to be important, but he didn't want people to remember just the place, but what people actually did there. And that's what made it one of the great speeches of all time. It's only 10 sentences, it's only 2 minutes long, but it was something that people remembered for a really long time. So it's important about the things that we say. And that's what made Abraham Lincoln a great president, is that he thought about the people and bringing them together and uniting them.